Welcome back to Morning Brew with the Homeowners. I'm your host, Dmitry. Today I joined with three awesome people. Have full studio today. I have Sam Cook, public adjuster here from in Minneapolis. I also have Clay Cox all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, drinking coffee with us. And I have also Mike Holmes, roof repair king here, contractor, also in St. Paul area, Minnesota. Today's topic is all about gutters. We have some very spicy stories. It's all about gutters, how much you should pay, insurance conflicts, lawsuits against big brands, and even few gutter scams. Let's get into it. Sam, what's your first story today?
All about gutters, overpriced gutters. So two elderly women in Georgia say they were charged over $14,000 for gutters after a long late night sales pitch. The next morning, crews showed up at 8 a.m. before they could cancel. Ruth Barnes was charged $6,000 and her neighbor Barbara was charged $8,000. Another company had came out and quoted them only $900 for the same work. When Ruth's son complained, the manager said, "They're the Lamborghini of gutters." LeafGuard claims it did nothing wrong and says their price was fair. Clay, you got some gutter background. What do you think of this?
I sure do, guys. So my very first job out of college was selling very high-priced gutters under a regime that was very focused on one call close, try to sell it on the spot, negotiating the close, price drops. I mean, all the stuff that that gave sales reps a kind of a bad name originated in like the 80s and 90s with a lot of these high-pressure tactics. And I experienced a little taste of it when I sold gutters in the early 2000s. And as our listeners heard, I'm from Georgia. This story comes from Georgia. As I was reading the story myself, I was like, please don't let this be about the company where I worked. And it turned out to be a different product. So that's nice. But just to paint a picture for you, like when we were out there selling these high price gutters, like our price list had them at $30+ a foot, even way back in the early 2000s, just to give you an idea. And then I would see tactics of salespeople out in the field. You know, like they taught us you'd use a really long measuring tape, like 100-foot spool, right? That's how you measure gutters. The good guys would take a gutter spike, like a nail, stick it into the ground at one end and pull the tape tight, right? Seems fair, accurate. I would also see guys go out there, start the thing over there and then just spool it. So as you're looking out in the yard, there's all this extra footage at $30 a foot that they're just adding up. Overcharging, over measuring, like drastically. And then they would do all this rounding stuff to turn 8 feet of gutter into 15. I mean, wild tactics out there in the field. So I'm not shocked to see a story like this. And homeowners should be hyper aware of what their contractors are doing. Technology's changed a lot. Now we're getting aerial measurements and digital measurements that are much more accurate. Hopefully it is minimizing the risk that you have bad actors out there doing stuff like this. But I can speak from experience. It's kind of what drove me away from home improvement sales initially, was some of this just dirty stuff that was going on. Then I went to be a lawyer and found out that was no better. It might have been arguably worse, right? But man, and the only other comment I'll make before throwing it to somebody else is I hate the response. The manager told this customer they're the Lamborghini of gutters. You know, I've worked with salespeople for a long time. I always discourage them from making these car analogies. People love saying, we're the Cadillac of this, we're the Mercedes of this. It's like, not everybody buys and drives those, but Lamborghini is extra offensive to use as like somebody who buys a Lamborghini knows it costs 10 times more than a Camry. Poor little Ruth Barnes in Georgia does not know that this Lamborghini of gutters costs 10 times more than a regular gutter job. That is disturbing in its flavor to me. But hey, man, hopefully this stuff is going away. But you got to watch these contracts.
I think it does. What I hate about this story is how fast they were to install, because there is 3-day right to cancel, and these companies prey on elderly people. I've covered several of these stories, and they're all the same. I mean, if you're 85-year-old, you have no business buying $15,000 worth of gutters. Like, you're not going to be in the house for more than 10, 15 years. Your gutter should not cost more than a roof. I actually recently partnered up with a company out of Florida. It's called Houser.com. Absolutely amazing technology. And this is how world is changing. You can go to Houser.com, put your address in it, and it'll give you the quote how much your gutter should cost. Because now you have aerial images, and with the technology, it's very easy to calculate. If you have 150 feet of gutters, you should be, your gutters and gutter covers, all of it should cost, like, let's say $8,000 for everything. Granted that this work right here, they were charged $8,000. This is not even gutters. This is gutter helmets. So it's a product that goes on top of your gutters. If we're talking about like gutter and gutter covers, I mean, it would be more, a ridiculous price, but $8,000 just for gutter covers. And I think the reason they came next morning, so the homeowner will not find out that there's a cheaper options and not cancel.
I mean, I don't want to play devil's advocate, but to get a gutter installer out next more that quick, I mean, almost, they're not wrong. They're as fast as a Lamborghini.
Yeah. Well, high pressure sales tactics is how they do it. I would say, for all my young people out there, if you are a caregiver, if you're taking care of your older parents, because I do talk to a lot of victims in this case, I actually receive a lot of calls on behalf of parents, like, hey, my dad is, this old, and someone came to him and sold him this, and what do we do now? This is crazy. And again, this is very, very bad for all of us, for the industry. They go, by the way, how do they sell them? So they go to these shows and they literally target people who are older, and they put pressure on them to buy it here and now. Clay, my question to you is, if someone signed that agreement and let's say it's after 3 days, is there a way to get out of that contract? So let's say my mom paid someone $8,000 and they're going to install it in 2 weeks. And how do you get out of the agreement after 3 days?
I think that's probably going to vary by the contractor that you're dealing with. Statutorily, by law, you can cancel within 3 days in some places. Some places it's as long as 5 that you have that right of rescission, right to cancel. Beyond that, you're kind of unprotected by the law. So it's going to be, how does that contractor want to treat that situation? If you have a homeowner that's telling you as a contractor, we don't want you to do this work on our house, we changed our mind. Do you really want to enforce that contract and kind of force them to allow you onto their property to perform work that they're telling you they don't want? You're kind of setting yourself up for a bad customer experience and relationship there. It wouldn't surprise me if that customer was dissatisfied with the work. Like, you're almost, from a contractor side, you're asking for trouble by doing that. So companies I've worked with in the past, companies that Radner has acquired and we work with, you want people to adhere to the agreements that they make. But if someone doesn't want us to come to their house and do work, and they make that really clear to us, especially if they have a good reason for doing so, it's like, who's going to go sue somebody to enforce us to allow us to do work? That's a bad look.
I would say on the gutter pricing too, I mean, that is one of the trades on the exterior of a home that has the most swing, right? If you go get 10 siding bids, 10 roofing bids, you might have a 20-30% variance on average. But gutters, I mean, I've sold gutters myself, and it's like the price variance is insane. You can have the same cover, same everything for $12 a foot for one contractor and $38 for another. And, I don't know of any gutter subcontractors that really have stayed in business more than 5 years straight, right? You only have a couple. You have, LeafGuard, and obviously they're on the much higher end, but then again, they're there for it. So I would argue some of these companies that, the manager, his justification might not have been great, but them saying their price is fair. Do I think their price is way above what it should be? Probably. But how hard is it to actually find a gutter contractor that's going to be around for it? And you are going to have that spread. It's just a really up to each company on what they're going to put for a price.
My advice to all the homeowners is do your research. Go to YouTube, go to read some reviews, do get 3, 4, 5 estimates. Do not buy anything on a first appointment, no matter how much pressure they put on you. Like, even if it seems like a good product, do your research. I mean, if you're about to spend $8,000, $10,000 on a product, thinking about it extra day is not going to make big difference. Your gutters will be just fine. A gutter is also the item where it's never an emergency. It's never like, if you have a leaky roof and, it's about to rain for 3 days, yes, damage might be worse and you want to fix it faster. But for gutters, you have time to make educated decision. If you need my help, our help, to review those estimates, I would love to do that at no cost. Send us the estimates and I'll tell you if it's reasonable or not reasonable. When we're going to come back after the break, we have one of the leaders in the industry, LeafFilter, story about them, how they got in trouble for their marketing promises. Do not go anywhere.
This video was made possible by Raindrop Gutter Guards. You've probably heard us talk about Raindrop before, and for good reason. These gutter guards are designed like no other. They're made of ultra smooth plastic and sit at the perfect angle. So all those leaves and debris, they slide right off. In the winter months, the guard's dark color stays warm in the sun, stopping ice in its tracks. No buildup, no clogs. Just set it and forget it. Plus, Raindrop has a hail warranty, so you know these things are built to handle whatever gets thrown at them, literally. It's a high-performance, low-maintenance gutter system. No matter the weather, Raindrop has you covered. Hit the link in the description and grab yours today.
And we are back on our second cup of coffees, third, fourth, whatever you drink. I always say there's, it's no such a thing as too much coffee per day. Like afternoon, like I don't care. You can't sell me the agenda that coffee is bad for you. Our second story today. About LeafFilter, the absolute worst brand, marketing brand for me personally in the gutter covers. Clay, you share the story because I'm too passionate about this one.
LeafFilter catching strays already today. So we're called, the story is the LeafFilter lawsuit. LeafFilter called their product, quote unquote, maintenance free. Thousands of homeowners disagreed. Their gutters overflowed, leaked, clogged, sometimes even worse than before. People were paying thousands of dollars to install a high-end system in LeafFilter and then paying again to remove it. All of the complaints led to a class action lawsuit and a $5.2 million settlement. LeafFilter still denied wrongdoing, but offered refunds to people who bought the system between 2016 and 2022. And I think that the question that this really raises is how maintenance-free can gutters be? And just as a primer, the purpose of a gutter system, or some of our listeners may be close to Canada where they call them eaves troughs. Gutters are a water management system designed to get all of that water coming off of your roof, minimize how much deterioration and damage it can do to the exterior of your home, get it to the ground and away from the foundation to prevent soil erosion that leads to foundation problems, right? That's the purpose of this system. The balancing act is trying to catch water and trying to keep other stuff out. And that's been the challenge of gutter protection systems forever. And the old joke is like, hey, if you don't want your gutters to get any leaves or debris in them, I'll flip them upside down. They will not clog. They just won't catch any water either. So that's the balancing act that we're talking about. I mean, guys, Sam, what do you think? Is there such thing as a maintenance-free gutter system? Is there any way to make this really true?
No, absolutely not. I did door-to-door gutter sales for a long time too. And it's just every single time a homeowner's like, well, I want a gutter helmet. I'm like, why? And they're like, so I don't have to clean my gutters. I'm like, okay, but after about 5 years, you're going to have to. And now you have to take this cover off and unscrew it to be able to clean it out. There was a lot that I pushed to having just nothing on there. I'd rather pay someone once or twice a year to clean them than every 4 or 5 having to take the helmet off and messing up the shingles, doing all kinds of stuff. I've never seen a gutter helmet work the way it's supposed to, ever. Unless they have no trees. If there's no trees around the house, they didn't even need them, then they never seem to clog. But that's the only case. What about you guys?
I think this is was great marketing for them. And that's what happened. It was just great marketing. I've seen lots of companies come on and say something that was so catchy, it shut out the competition, and everybody just went for it. And then they bought it. And then after they got it, they realized it was a lie. It wasn't true. There is no such thing as maintenance, as something that's maintenance free. We've all seen them. We've all touched them. We're all like, oh, that's where the stuff goes in. That's where that happens. Oh, okay. But the homeowners just go for it. Lots of homeowners are gullible, and it's not their fault. These guys put millions of dollars into marketing, and then they paid millions of dollars back out in their class action settlement suit. So, I mean, stuff happens. This is what happens sometimes when people have really good marketing campaigns. It sounds good, but we all know if it sounds too good to be true, then it probably is.
I mean, the question is how many asterisks did they have after maintenance free, right? Because I bet the fine print did not say maintenance free.
Yeah.
So at one point,
yeah, for sure.
At one point, I had the 3 sales reps who worked for my roofing company who came from LeafFilter. So I recruited them, and I've heard so many stories. It is one-time close. What I hate about LeafFilter is how they sell, what they do, what they, they would not leave the house. And also the worst part of LeafFilter business model is, I call it the worst sales pitch in industry. Actually, when you start at the highest price and you have the bottom price, so they would start at 38 and they would drop it all the way to 12, like $12 per foot. And if they sell it at $12 a foot, this was back in 2017, 2018, actually right around the this time frame from for this $1 million settlement. Then if they sell it at $12, the sales rep would not get commissions, which is crazy because their cost is like $3 a foot. So they sell it at 12, and pretty much the way it looked at the house, they will start at 9, 10,000, and you're not buying. It's like, let me talk to my manager, and then you drop to 6, and then 5, and then 3,000 at the end. My question is, where's your ethics? So if you're willing to do it for $3,000, why to start at 8? They would not leave, which is crazy a little bit. But even the $3,000 at $12 a foot is still a lot of profit for the company. But like the whole pitch is so bad that I don't know how they still stay in business. And I'm glad to see that it cost them $5 million just for those few years. I think they should pay way more.
Yeah, it's real interesting. Like, I think stuff like that is what gives sales guys, like the used car sales thing, and stuff like that gives sales guys the bad reputation. They go, oh yeah, well you can get it for $38 a foot. All right, let me talk to my manager. 25. Oh, we have an opening that just came up tomorrow. What a coincidence. We can get you in tomorrow for this price. Oh, we have some leftover material, and they just keep coming, and the person just sitting there like, I'll just keep waiting, and I'll wait you down. But then the other part that does suck, when they have the sales guy that, hey, if you sold that product and it goes in there, the company profits, that sales guy is hungry now. And that it leaves a bad taste in not only their mouth, but just the overall industry,
Well, and let's draw a distinction, right? Like having multiple solutions at different price points is a good thing. And you have to note, are they just dropping price for the same scope of work and the same products? Because that is where the real old dirty sales stuff comes in. Hey, if LeafFilter wants to come in with their very best system that they recommend because it's the best for these reasons, and then they have alternative products and ways to get to a more manageable budgetary situation for customers, hey, that's something I believe in. Like I'm for that. But people are arbitrarily dropping price, or we'll put a yard sign in your yard and we'll take $2,000 off. All that bull crap. Here's the reason why it happens, guys. It's these old commission plans that a lot of salespeople used to be on and sometimes still are on, where the sales rep is making profit in the job without any guardrails on what they charge sometimes. So the sales rep is incentivized to sell it for as high of a price as he can because he's going to reap outsized rewards above a certain number. Like it's a par system. Like if par for a job is $1,000, he's like, well, if I sell it for $2, I make $500. But if I sell it for $3, I make $1,000 because they're splitting it above that par number. That's what bred a lot of bad sales behaviors over the last couple of decades. We see that shifting now to better comp models where yes, people are making commission, but they're at a more appropriately scaled way where they're not incentivized to rip people off. That's what's happened with a lot of these gutter companies. Sales reps have been incentivized to rip people off because they make big bucks off of it.
Well, if you're the homeowner and you about to receive sales pitch from LeafFilter, just stay to the end, just get some coffee. Just every hour price will drop probably $1,000, $2,000. So if you want to save money, this is how you do it. They'll go all the way down, $12 a foot. And it's funny because if you go to my YouTube channel, Roofing Insights, and you'll see my videos about exposing LeafFilter, you will see tons and tons of comments from ex-sales reps saying that, yep, it's true. This is how we've done it. That's why I quit. That's why I don't work there anymore. And the problem is, if I would be CEO of LeafFilter, I would figure out a better system, and I would also answer to that criticism. You have to make it public. Like now you've been called out, you have to change. You have to say, hey, we used to do that, we don't do it anymore. Because now everybody knows this is how you run your business. When are you going to change? I mean, sooner or later, you're going to be on the Business Insider episode or on CNBC, people will it will be so public that nobody gonna buy from you. Like if you sell cars and you have shady practice, one news story about you and you're done. And LeafFilter have been called out. I mean, look, $5.2 million settlement, on their marketing campaign. When you're going to acknowledge that what you do is wrong, it's costing you money, it's costing your reputation. And
no, this practice is like well known in the gutter world. It's common in HVAC, right? Where they have, here's the price, anything you sell above that's a split. I don't really see that in roofing. Right, you don't see it in some of these better off trades. I don't see it in siding much.
You see on the big companies like
Really? Okay.
Power Home Remodeling, like those big giant companies. Those players are rare now, and they did change a lot. But usually it's companies who charge the most. Like I see it on a few markets, like up north, like Boston area, New York area. There's a few big players there. It's very common. It's not everywhere.
With the old comp models that lead to high pressure sales. The other people you see doing it are like true chuck in a truck type guys who a guy knows how to do some gutters or knows how to do some roofing, and then he gets a few more leads and he needs to hire somebody. So he brings on his buddy. He says, hey man, if you sell it above this number, I'll split it with you. So you get some really small organizations that have those profit split compensation plans too. But man, anybody who's trying to do that at scale is not creating the right incentive structure to take care of homeowners.
So if you're a homeowner, how do you sniff this out? How do you tell they're using, I mean, obviously the high pressure stuff, we can tell, and if they drop the price 3 times, but when you're trying to find a company online and find people to give you bids, how would you be able to sniff these out?
I would say first of all, if there's any pressure, if there's any, like this is today's price, that's a red flag. So I think just count your red flags. So for number one, your roof, your gutters, your siding, it's never, this is today's price, this is tomorrow's price. That's a red flag. Number two, any kind of pressure. I mean, why are we pressuring people to buy here and now? Like, because you're not confident that they will buy from you tomorrow? Like, what's the reason, right? Like, and I'm okay with offering, like, if I'm a contractor, I'm okay asking for business. But I have to earn that business. It should be it should be on the table. It should be an offer. Like, do you want to start your project today? Are you ready to make this decision? But it should not be a pressure. So pressure, it's a huge red flag. So if they're pressuring you, they're hiding something and they're afraid that they did not build the value and they did not have a trust. What do you guys think?
I agree.
Watch out for arbitrary price drops, drop in price for no reason. And the old call the sales manager to get a better price is the biggest red flag that there is.
I agree. Mike?
Me too. No, I agree 100%. And if like he said, if nothing's changing, if I've seen people definitely say, hey, here's the price today. I'll hold this price for X amount of time, but because materials can change. And just be honest, we'll give you a better price because we don't have to come back out here and try to pitch you again and not do something else. If listen to the common sense, trust your gut, and trust me, you're probably more right more times than you're wrong.
100%. When we come back, we will talk about one more scenario, and that is what happens when gutter company goes out of business because they file bankruptcies too. Don't go anywhere. Shout out to our sponsor this week, IKO. I actually have IKO Dynasty shingles on my own home. I've been recommending them for years because they are tough, reliable, and they look great. They're heavyweight, which really helps with the wind. And they have a Class 3 impact rating, which is the standard a lot of insurance companies are looking for. Plus, the color options are great. If you're planning on a roof project, ask your contractor about IKO Dynasty or find a certified IKO Roof Pro at directory.com. And we are back talking about nightmares with the gutter companies. Our next story is about what happened when gutter company goes out of business, because they do too. Mike, what's the story?
Man, well, the story today is homeowners in Chicago say Spring Rock Gutters took their money and disappeared. Frank and Monica Manfredi paid $4,300 for gutters. 12 weeks later, still no installation. NBC found the company's office empty and employees were unpaid. Workers say paychecks bounced and their health insurance was canceled without warning. There was no warranty for their insurance. The homeowner blamed delays in weather, but the owners blamed delays in weathers, but the customers weren't buying it. So I think this happens a lot in our industry. Companies are going under. I don't know why, but there seems to be this number about a year and a half, maybe a year and a half, 2 years, companies go under. It's unfortunate to hear, but this gutter company went in the gutter.
I would say this, that no one, absolutely no one, is protected against someone else going out of business. I have a good friend in Iowa. He is a roofing contractor, Dan Young, and he recently hired garage door company, gave them $12,000 deposit, and within 3 days they filed bankruptcy, right? So the sad part about someone's bankruptcy is the last customers are usually who's going to get screwed, right? Like the company could be in business for 20 years, but then it's going to be last 100 customers, 200 customers, 50 customers, whatever. In this case, it has nothing to do with that. Like, and I want to plug in directory, contractordirectory.com is the only company that covers against that. To cover someone else's bankruptcy, if you would, if Spring Rock Gutter company would be on directory.com and they file bankruptcy, we would actually return the money to the homeowners. We have a roofing company we recommended 3 years ago. The guy went out of business, did not pay supplier. Supplier put a lien on homeowner's house. It was $4,000, and we paid out that claim, right? Things happen. You have to ask yourself, what are you going to do in that situation if your contractor goes out of business? Because manufacturer's not going to cover it. You know, there's no, like, BBB is not going to cover it. You know, whoever recommended that contractors, you know, should be liable if you found him on BBB or Angels List or whatever. So where you find contractor matters the most. And unfortunately, in case of bankruptcy, the debt just, erases. And $4,000 is not a lot of money, but think about if that would be $20,000 for new roof. Now you have nothing. Even if it's insurance claim, we have Elephant Roofing Company, have 300 homeowners. Attorney General is looking at millions of dollars. Insurance claims, all just goes to the bankruptcy, and nobody's in jail, nobody's prosecuted, but those homeowners will not get their roofs done because money is spent, money is done, and they wipe off in the bankruptcy. Sam, what do you think?
I'm gonna hand it to Clay. I've never seen him look so angry before. This is, you can tell, it strikes a nerve with you.
Yep.
Clay, what do you think?
I don't like seeing people get messed up by contractors, you know, and $4,300 for a gutter guard project sounds like a large percentage deposit. It sounds like more than 20 or 30%. Might have been payment in full. So that's how I know we're going to talk about, like, how do you avoid this from a homeowner perspective? What are the signs to look for? And while some nominal deposit is reasonable, I mean, people are going to buy materials, prepare to do jobs. There's some legitimate costs that it's fair to ask for some kind of deposit as a contractor. But when that number starts creeping up towards half of the job or more, or they're asking for payment in full, that is a massive red flag that could signify cash flow problems. Like they need the money for this job to pay for the last job type situation. That's a red flag for financial health of the contractor when they need larger size deposits, right? Now they're wise not to do a job with no deposit for lots of reasons. That complicates relationships too. But something above a nominal deposit of, call it between 10 and 33%, starts to raise a flag of, like, why do you need so much money up front? What's going on in the back of your house?
Mike, you're probably familiar with this. Like, Minnesota has a contractor recovery fund. You
Yes.
guys familiar with this? When can a homeowner go back to that? I don't think every state has one, if I
they
remember
don't?
right.
Yeah, they do have the contractor recovery fund, and that's something that you're made well aware of as a contractor. Mm-hmm. For those of you homeowners don't know, when your contractor gets their license, the Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry has its own fund. It's sort of like kind of what directory does or what your insurance company does. And every contractor puts in a little bit in the pot, and hopefully nobody ever has to take out of the pot, but it happens. So they do things to protect them. And trust me, and if somebody goes in that pot, then there's going to be a problem, because it had to get to the point where the state had to jump in to make them help recover funds where that shouldn't have happened. I personally haven't seen that happen or dealt with that, but I know that it's there. And I've told homeowners about it, because there's many times when we approach a homeowner as a contractor, and what happens is we get to hear the stories. I've personally went after contractors for friends that I've known and helped them get their money back. So it happens. As a contractor, what I like to say is this: when I first came into the industry, we always heard it went from you get your money when the job's done, and then I've kind of seen like half down, half when it's done. With insurance proceeds, which I do a lot of. We're waiting for the money. What I've become a fan of lately is this term. It's called progress payments. And I think that's the way that protects everybody. Because what I don't want to see is homeowners thinking, well, I'm not giving them any money. And then the contractors go, well, why aren't you giving me money? And then now we have a trust problem. So we have to just realize that this is just a relationship in life. And like any other relationship, we have to meet somewhere and we have to understand that we've both been hurt before. So if you can come up with a great progress payment, I believe that's helpful for everybody. So personally me, I've broken it down. I said, hey, listen, I almost don't even care about the first initial amount. Pay me when the materials get there. But when the materials get there, you will owe me X amount of dollars in that percentage. And then when we do, when we get to this point of progress, then you pay us that. And when you do that, it becomes a slow drip and a slow feed, and it just feels healthy. And by the time you get to the end, there should be the contractor should have the bulk of the payment when the work is done. And I think it's nice if the homeowners still get the hold of a small amount to secure that the permit's going to get closed out and everything gets closed up, and hopefully everybody's happy.
I will say you bring up a good point though, is like as a homeowner, how many homeowners out of 100 are going to get screwed by a contractor like this where they're going to give them money and not get anything back? Probably 1 in 100, right? Like it's a pretty rare occurrence, maybe 2 in 100, right? 1 in 50. How many contractors have done work for homeowners and never got paid? About 90%, right? All of us. Right?
Yes.
You've done work for people and haven't got paid. And so it's hard. We always look at the homeowner side of it and go, the homeowner's getting screwed, but these contractors also get screwed continuously. I'm not saying either side's right for doing it. Right. But I think that shouldn't be discounted either, is that, maybe part of their issue with this business was they were short on some other jobs, right? And then it passes along. That's that karma that feeds into everything.
Absolutely. Agreed. There's interest to balance. Go ahead, Dmitry.
Yeah. I would say, let's talk about numbers. So 80% of contractors go out of business within 2 years. As far as numbers of not getting paid, I would say bad debt category for roofers and contractors is probably 2-3%. So like large companies will say it's, a couple of percent that we cannot collect, we go after it. If you look at BBB statistics, every year they have 6,000 complaints, money disputes with the roofers alone, and 3,000 of them goes unanswered. They can't settle. They can't help. I would say this day and time, it's a very hard topic for me. And this show is sponsored mainly by Directory.com. And I'll say what Directory does is monitors contractors' financial stability, because as a homeowner, you will never know if that contractor owes $1 million to ABC Supply. You will never know if the contractor has, OSHA fines or work comp audits. Contracting is a very risky business, and contractors go out of business not because they're shady, not because they're steal the deposits, but because there's too many angles, too many scenarios how contractors can get hit and literally go out of business. I'm looking at the one story right now. Contractor in Texas just got in Florida, $750,000 OSHA fine, and said that he's going to close the doors and start over. Well, if he has homeowners, because he's going to file bankruptcy, if he has homeowners that he cannot serve, they're going to be affected by that. If you have a, fall OSHA violation, and in that case, someone, one of his employees fell through, and not only he's dealing with a death or, that case, but also with the OSHA fine. There's so many things that can happen to the contractor. Like, I don't know what happened to Spring-Greg gutters, but look in the story. Companies' office is empty. Employees are unpaid. Workers say paychecks bounced. Their health insurance was canceled without warning. I mean, that company financially struggled. And it's very hard proposition for the contractors. Like Contractors and Directory.com say, it's hard for me to go to the homeowner and say, hire me because I'm backed by someone. But as a homeowner, you should ask yourself and your contractor, if something happened to you, how do I make sure the deposit will not be gone? What's my backup plan if something happened to you? And nobody wants to talk about it, but things happen to the contractors, and if you're not intentional, if you're not thinking about it, you might get in trouble.
Yeah. Only last thing I'd throw in there, a good mechanism to protect everybody is using consumer financing to do these jobs, where, oftentimes contractors who are using a financing company like a Good Leap or a Service Finance in our industry, they're not asking for a deposit at all from the homeowner, because they know upon completion of the work, when they prove to the finance company that they've completed the job, then the full thing will get paid, and protects that customer, right? I mean, if you want to go through that financing process, even if you have the cash to pay, then it prevents you from oftentimes having to make that deposit or lose that deposit if something happens to the company. So kind of having that neutral third party standing in the middle to play the role of arbiter and ensure fairness is not a bad idea either.
Absolutely. I was going to say also, in this industry, that managing the money is obviously a huge thing with us. I'm speaking a lot for the insurance restoration guys. There are a lot of times people don't know that our transactions we get a little bit of money. We have to do it. You have to pay the sales guy, the labor, the material up front. And then there's a long wait game on the back, waiting for the mortgage companies, waiting for the approvals, waiting for the supplements. And I've seen it. It's almost happened to me years ago. I was on one of Dmitry's platforms. And I told him, I said, hey, I almost went down under bankruptcy because we built jobs too fast, because you got the salespeople and the homeowners that want the job built and they don't want to wait for the approval. And if you build those jobs with too little money, then you become a bank that doesn't collect interest, and that can kill you. So financing and mismanagement and not handling that is a serious thing for lots of contractors, and that's a big thing. So yes, financing helps. Having other things like that back us help. So I don't know, there is no blanket answer, but just pay attention and have open communication.
100%.
Don't ask for a loan from the Bank of Mike
at all, because we ain't paying.
When we come back, we're going to take a last break. When we come back, we have one last story, and this is the spiciest one. How to lose your insurance over gutter claim. Don't go anywhere.
In the world of roofing, every shingle, slope, and seal counts. At Work Ninjas, roofing isn't just our trade, it's our craft. With years of steering roofing companies to success, we've mastered the art of scaling businesses. We've built a team ready to support roofing business owners, and our experts are here to help you expand efficiently. Our experienced ninjas provide essential front and back end support. We tackle one-time projects and offer ongoing assistance, helping you streamline operations. Work Ninjas enhances your roofing business with services like customer service, virtual admin assistance, CRM management, commercial and residential estimating, production, billing, supplements, marketing, and more. Our model is straightforward. Flexible pricing, customizable to your needs. Use our services as much or as little as you need, full-time or part-time. When you partner with us, you get direct access to a team that's committed to your business, acting as a natural extension of your own office. Become a partner with the roofing experts at Work Ninjas today, and let's elevate your business to new heights.
And we are back with the one last story. This one we found on Reddit, actually, and a very believable story because I've seen it many, many times, but a little crazy too. So Reddit poster from New Jersey says their insurance dropped them after 3 claims in 5 years. 2 claims were for water damage caused by a gutter backup and a roof leak. The last claim was for a sinkhole. The comments section was not on their side. One said, "You filed the claim because your gutter's backed up. I'll drop you too." So what's your take on the insurance claim? And this is why, guys, you clean your gutter. So hire someone to do it.
Or get some maintenance-free covers that you never have to worry about. They're mythical, but I would say, this is, you guys talked about, I think it was last week, maybe the week before, about how sensitive insurance companies are right now, right? They've been taking a bashing through COVID, through material price changes, everything. They're looking for reasons to drop people, right? And when you have situations like this where you're not preventing and you're not, taking care of your home, keeping up on common maintenance items, you are asking to be dropped. And then this market's hard enough to find a carrier. It's hard enough to find a carrier that's going to pay out a claim, find one that's going to not gouge you on pricing. This is... Yes, that's what insurance is for, right? It's an accidental direct physical loss. ADPL is the term they use. It was sudden. It was accidental. Like your water backup in your gutters does happen. Your insurance will cover it. But they're going to keep looking at that, and you will get dropped. It's unavoidable. Insurance will find any reason. And at this point, you're just giving them reasons by not preventing it.
Wow. Public adjuster defending
Defending
insurance
Nope.
company. That
Nope.
never happened.
Never happened now. Still
I heard a
still
little
not
empathy
happening.
over there, man.
No, it is. All I said
Hey,
was
we have it on camera. We recorded it. Like,
all I'm saying is they want to screw you anyways. Don't give them a reason to screw you. That's
I'll
all.
switch up now.
hey, if I would be CEO of that insurance company, I would drop them too. I mean, 3 claims in 5 years. Come on.
Well, it doesn't matter. You have one claim in 20 years, you still don't get different treatment. So
Sure. But they did not drop them after first and second. So give it credit where it belongs, man. Come on. I give this insurance company credit. It's probably were not small claims too. I mean, if they... And who files a claim for gutter backups anyway?
that happens a
man.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see them in Minnesota, gutter backup,
Yeah.
because ice dams and things like that will build up
Yeah,
as
then
well.
they-
so.
then they
those
call.
those are the dumbest. Like ice dam claims are the dumbest thing ever. I mean, check it because I have ice dam company, right? Ice dam removal, and what they do is like if you have ice dams on the roof, insurance company will not pay to remove the ice dam because they will wait for the actual damage. So you have to. So if you call insurance company and say, would you pay like $1,500 to remove? No, you have to have a damage. Well, it will happen. You know when it starts warming
Well,
up.
that's one of the most common things that we get that people don't understand about insurance is that, we have one where a pipe bursts in your kitchen. They will pay to fix the water damage. They owe for the physical loss from the loss, but they don't owe to fix that pipe. Stove catches on fire. They'll pay for all the smoke and fire damage. They're not going to pay to fix the stove. Same thing. If your roof's leaking, and this is the most common thing I see is my roof's old and it's leaking, they need to pay for it. No, it's not a home warranty, right? They're not paying to replace stuff. They're paying for damage that happens from leaks causing from, things catching on fire, things leaking, right? They pay for the damages from it. They don't owe to fix the root cause. And ice dams is a perfect thing where most homeowners think they're like, oh, there's an ice dam, so they need to pay for the removal and the repairs. No, they owe for the repairs from the water damage.
People, I think they have that mommy syndrome. They go, Mom! When something happens, they just scream for mom. They just scream for help. They don't even double check and see what's going on. They'll see something that's wrong and they're just like, I'm calling the insurance company. It's like, no, you better wait and stop because you call the insurance company. Well, why are you calling the insurance company? There's a leak. Well, why there's a leak? Because I didn't clean my gutters. It's like you just told on yourself. You need to slow down, go check and ask yourself, if you were the insurance company, how would you feel about this? I have to pay for your leak because you didn't clean your gutters. You do have a responsibility of maintenance, and I think a lot of people forget that. They buy this box called a house, and they just expect things to be okay. And when money comes up, well, there's always something better to spend your money on. So who wants to spend it on having somebody go clean your gutters when I can do it, even though you're not going to do it?
Before roofing, I was in the automotive space. It was the same thing. Like, well, why do an oil change? You could just wait till the motor blows up, right? Same thing with your house. Like, maintenance is always cheaper. Preventive maintenance is always the number one thing you need to do on a house, on a car, on anything in your life. If you wait
Old
for
saying
things to go
applies:
wrong.
cheap people and broke people pay twice. They pay twice as much because of things like this. A couple of notable things here. I mean, to Dmitry's and Sam's point, like these are not necessarily small claims. You think gutter backs up, a little bit of water comes in. Now, oftentimes it's coming over that fascia board or getting in through a nail hole or something. It's inside the wall, soaking into insulation and ultimately causing, health hazards and things, mold, etc. So it can get pretty serious, and flooring gets affected. Electrical can get affected. I mean, these claims can blow up fast,
Especially if you hire a PA. Sorry.
Hire Sam, and that thing's going. But I find myself agreeing with Sam and Dmitry, and I'm almost disgusted with myself that I would defend an insurance company. But it's like, good grief. In the state of the industry, to Sam's point, like you're asking for it. You're going to file claims over this stuff. You're going to be dropped, and you really can't blame the insurance carriers, right? Like they need people to do their part to a certain degree. I mean, you pay for protection, but the homeowner's duty and obligation under that is to take care of the place. And hey, like as you think about how do I do that? Well, yeah, do I buy a high price gutter system? Do I pay somebody to consistently clean it who probably doesn't have insurance and probably is putting me at risk every time he climbs off that ladder in his sneakers, with a leaf blower? I mean, there's risky stuff. As I'm thinking about it, my gutter pitch is coming back to me. I can go sell some freaking gutters. Let's go. Dmitry, give me a gutter lead. Let's go.
How about this? A question for the homeowners, because if I'm a homeowner watching this or listening to this, I'm thinking, all right, now I'm confused. When do I call the insurance company? At what point? For me, I would say the quick, easiest thing to do is say, how did this happen? Was it my fault? or was it not my fault? And if it was your fault, handle it first and don't call mom just because you can, and just try to handle it. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Well, I come from the PA side, which means every insurance claim that gets sent to me is I can't think of a radio appropriate term for it, but a mess, right?
Yeah.
Like every claim we get's messy. So no, I mean, the second there's a leak inside your house and there's a fresh leak, fresh damage, call your insurance, get documented. It's just going to make the claim easier. But that might not be the point where the claim gets approved and that everything's documented, but at least get documentation, get the claim started as soon as possible.
But not just that there's a leak, but also take note, and maybe you could touch on telling them about the amount of their deductible versus the damage.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that most people just grossly underestimate the damage, though, right? Like even a high deductible in like modern sense, everyone was used to $500,000 deductibles. A lot of people have a $5,000 deductible. Do you know how little $5,000 gets you? Like, can you get a contractor out to do anything for under $5,000? Good luck. You're not going to get a GC out that's going to touch anything interior for under $5,000. So, I mean, it's going to be more in your deductible. I would say 9 times out of 10. That might just be the PA, might be the skewed side of it, might be because people only sense claims when it's big enough to already hire a PA. But no, I think your deductible, even if it's larger, you're still likely going to be past it. Once you see a leak on your sheetrock, there's a lot of layers that had to go through before you visually see it.
I have a message to my contractors and homeowners listening. First, to the contractors, this is your one of the biggest business opportunities in 2025 to offer some kind of maintenance, gutter covers, roof repairs, smaller services, anything maintenance. Like most exterior products do not have maintenance-free warranty. I mean, it's all gimmicks, right? Like gutters need to be cleaned, windows needs to be sealed, roof needs to be maintained. A lot of contractors don't. 70% of roofers do not do roof repairs. This is crazy big opportunity. Advertise it, go for it. Small items, small tickets, you'll make millions of dollars doing it. And to my homeowners, take care of your house. Don't be this guy in this story. 3 claims in 5 years for what? Not cleaning their gutters. We have a lot of homes here in Minneapolis that are built without gutters. It's a big problem. If you, the last claim was for the sinkhole, which means it's probably not just leaking, it was creating foundational damage. So if your builder did not install gutters, it's also one of the smallest items, as far as the cost of owning the houses. I mean, gutters will cost you a couple $1,000s, but they will save your foundation, your front porch. I mean, everything, your concrete. You will take care of gutters and gutter covers, and you will literally save the foundation of your building. I mean, 3 claims in 5 years is ridiculous, and it just shows negligence for this homeowner, how he takes care of it. It's no different than not cutting your grass. What's gonna happen, right? Like, treat your house like you treat your yard. You always do something. Pay attention to small things.
Now, I would argue most homeowners, especially newer homeowners, don't know all the things, right? Because we're coming from an exterior space, right? So we're saying like clean your gutters, caulk over the nails and the ridge and stuff like that. But then you also have the HVAC companies. Well, clean out your ducts, get your furnace filter service. Then you have like all of your small equipment. Oh, get your lawnmower oil change. Like every aspect of everything you own, there's people coming for this, like, hey, do the preventive maintenance. Yep. Someone needs to start issuing and making material for homeowners to know, like a checklist, like here's everything you need to do for a home. And I'm sure some of it's out there, but that's a huge marketing strategy you could do, is be that one point contact. I'm going to write a blog
today, like all the maintenance tips, your grout, your tile, your granite, everything needs maintenance. Good point.
For sure. I have a story brought to my head. I had a story brought to my mind just recently about, I have tons of stories where small repairs have turned into big jobs. I mean, our name is Repair King. People call us for something like a missing shingle. Well, guess what that turns into most of the time? Leaks the same way. But not to make it about myself, I had a female friend who used to work for me. She works with another company now. And she called me and she was like, oh my God, Mike, I just signed the biggest contract of my life. And I'm like, oh yeah, what happened? She was like, early in the year, we went to a small repair. Somebody called us. We did a small repair, thought it was stupid, did it anyways, took care of it. And when we did that, we left. Minnetonka, Deep Haven just got hit with hail. She said the lady called her back and said, hey, you guys did our repair. You didn't gouge us. You took care of us. We were happy with you. And our townhome association just got hit. She goes, oh, great. Well, can you introduce me to the president association? She goes, I'm the president of the association. 66 buildings that are 55 squares each. She said, Mike, this is going to be almost a $3 million claim that all started with a small repair.
Love it. Well, great show today, guys. Thank you for being with us. take care of your homes, do that maintenance. Don't be this guy from last story. And if you run a business, please do not advertise free maintenance, because nothing is free maintenance out there. We'll see you guys next week.
In the world of roofing, every shingle, slope, and seal counts. At Work Ninjas, roofing isn't just our trade, it's our craft. With years of steering roofing companies to success, we've mastered the art of scaling businesses. We've built a team ready to support roofing business owners, and our experts are here to help you expand efficiently. Our experienced ninjas provide essential front and back end support. We tackle one-time projects and offer ongoing assistance, helping you streamline operations. Work Ninjas enhances your roofing business with services like customer service, virtual admin assistance, CRM management, commercial and residential estimating, production, billing, supplements, marketing, and more. Our model is straightforward. Flexible pricing, customizable to your needs. Use our services as much or as little as you need, full-time or part-time. When you partner with us, you get direct access to a team that's committed to your business, acting as a natural extension of your own office. Become a partner with the roofing experts at Work Ninjas today, and let's elevate your business to new heights.